Yes, well, welcome to this special interview. My name is Gabe Strom, and I'm joined today by Craig Soderdahl from just outside of Indianapolis. So, Craig, how you doing, man?
Doing great. How about yourself?
Doing awesome. Looking forward to having a conversation with you today, Craig. You guys would never know this, just looking at Craig. Craig's got an incredible story. He's really gone from struggling, not struggling in Amazon, but starting off like a lot of people do, not knowing how to do the business, feeling overwhelmed and stressed out, working a full-time job. And over the past 19 months, Craig has been able to create a small private label empire. He refers to it as printing money. And it's a very exciting time because this month is actually Craig's last month in his day job that he's been working at for over 17 years. And so he is exiting the rat race and has freed himself, and his family has more than replaced a six-figure income, a comfortable six-figure income that he was receiving from corporate America. And so Craig, I'm excited, man. I want to hear the real story today of how you did this. And specifically, just to kind of frame this, I know you started Amazon back in December of 2015. Here we are in the beginning of 2018. I'm just kind of curious, what were your sales like for this past year, just to give someone some context for what you've been up to, man?
Sure. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. It's a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to today and this interview. But my sales for this past year were just under 600,000. My first year, I started selling it in September of 2015. I sold probably about 40,000, 50,000 that first year. And then 2017, I finished just under 400,000, about 370,000 in sales in 2017. So it's progressively gotten better. And my hope is for 2018 to finish with about $1.5 million in sales this next year.
Okay. Well, let me just cut through because a lot of people hear that and maybe they are familiar with Amazon, maybe they're not. What does 600,000 in sales mean for money in your pocket? Like, what kind of net profit do you do off of that kind of volume?
Sure. I'm close to about 35% in profit margin, so about $200,000 in net profit in my about 18, 19 months of doing private label. So I had no idea when I started that I'd be talking about $200,000 in net profit. Which is pretty crazy on a side business while I'm working full time, have a family, coach 3 sports. It just seems almost impossible that I'm at this point. So, but I'm excited. It's a lot of fun and it's been quite a ride.
Okay, man. Well, so this is the part where I want to just like dissect the journey, because what you just said, there's a lot of people that are in day jobs that they don't like. I've heard stats that up to like 70% of Americans are disengaged in their day job. They just don't like what they do. They're looking for a side hustle. They have limited time, which I know you, so working a full-time job with a family, you guys have three or how many kids do you guys have?
4 boys.
4 boys, and you're coaching 3 different sports. So you are like the definition of busy. So walk me back, man. I want to start from the beginning and just to help people see, our intention for this interview is really twofold. One is to share your story, kind of the untold story, the behind the scenes look at what it takes to actually create a full-time income working online, selling products on Amazon. And then 2, at the end of the interview today, we want to share a fast pass with all of you, a shortcut, if you will, to speed up that process, because we believe that, Craig, what you've done in 19 months, people can do much faster with having the tools and resources that are available today. So to start off, man, walk me back to December 2015. First, I got to know, what do you do for work? What's your, do you have like an e-commerce background or some kind of something like that?
I am not technically savvy at all online. You can ask my friends, my family. But no, I actually work at a Christian summer camp. So we serve a bunch of kids in the summer and year round. And I've been doing that for 18 summers. Love the ministry that I've been a part of. And that's why it's been hard to kind of let go of that work that I was doing, because I love it. I love the people there. I love the work that we do. But at the same time, I couldn't juggle both of them at the same time. So kind of pursued the one that I love and I'm gifted at, I feel like more, which is Amazon. And I'm excited about this journey so far and where it will take me next.
Okay. So you work at a Christian camp, so director, so you kind of deal with some probably a lot of fun stuff that comes with being a part of any organization if anybody's in management of any kind. But you've been there for 18 summers, so I know this was, and you've enjoyed what you've done. I know you've got a passion for kids and ministry. Walk me back to 2015. Why did you decide to start selling on Amazon? Where'd that come from?
My son, he's currently a senior in high school, and so about that time, he was getting to be end of his sophomore year, middle of his sophomore year, and I was thinking, boy, I got to start saving up for college. And then I have three other boys right behind him, so looking at college expenses, just wanted to, and I had sold on eBay for about 3 years prior, so I enjoyed selling. I sold mostly used items, but it was a lot of work and time I didn't have. So I heard Amazon was another platform. Got started doing RA and OA, but I just didn't have the time for that. I was just busy and looking for another system. Joined the Platinum Mastermind group back in 2015. Had different coaches. Had Grant. He was awesome. And I also had Brandon Andrews. And so Brandon was kind of our private label expert at the time. And he really talked to me more about private label, and I said, boy, that's right for me because I just don't have the time. But I love to build things. I love to create businesses. I love to create new products. And so it just fit with who I was. And that I actually started before Brandon had his course out. I started my private label journey before I had any tools at the time. So I really did not know what I was doing at all. But I've learned my way through it since, but it was pretty painful in the beginning because I didn't have any knowledge or resources of what to even look for, what to do. But I went ahead and got started back then. So.
Okay. Well, so there's some keys in that, and I've learned this as an entrepreneur, that you can't wait till all the lights are green. There's nothing great was ever created. In fact, when you start a business, the lights are never green. Sure. You just got to go through, and sometimes you got to run some red lights even just to take the first step though. But I want to back up because some people are watching this, maybe you just threw out some acronyms. I want to clarify the different types of business models on Amazon because you mentioned RA and OA. So for someone listening, can you explain very quickly what retail arbitrage is and what online arbitrage is? And because I know you did this, I mean, that was your starting point, it sounds like.
Yep, I did that for a little over a year and about 4 months. RA is retail arbitrage, so you buy stuff in a store like a Walmart, a Sears, Target, and then you resell it on Amazon or other platforms for a higher price. So arbitrage is just buying something lower and selling it higher. And then online arbitrage is basically rather than going to a physical store, you're just searching for products online. And there's a lot of people that make good income doing it that way, but it does take a lot of time and energy to manage a bunch of different products. And you're constantly trying to look for the new replacement product. And I didn't want to focus on that. I wanted to focus on something different, something that was a little bit simpler for me to manage in terms of number of products that I had to manage. And I didn't want to have to do it every single day. As you can tell, my day job in the summer was quite hectic, so I didn't have the chance to fulfill. So I was trying to say, what's something that I could do to check out, so to speak, in the summer, because I just didn't have the time. And so private label really was that avenue for me to say, hey, from May to almost the end of August, I really am maintaining, but I'm not doing a whole lot of work on this. And then when I get out of summer, I might be able to jump back in and focus on it again. So it afforded me that opportunity to take some time away to do my other job, so to speak.
Okay. So that's really that was the jump for you, was trading time for dollars, doing the arbitrage model, which is still a great model. And I still believe there's a ton of opportunity there. And it's a great place to start learning Amazon too. We talk a lot about a lot of people that skip that step and try and jump right into private label. We can maybe talk about the dangers of doing that. I could tell you story after story after story of people that have got burned launching the wrong product and picking the wrong product. And we'll talk about that in a second. But so you really got into private label. And private label, can you just explain the basic model? Are you importing from China? Are you making products here in the US? Like, what is your basic private label model?
Yeah, private label is basically when you take a product and make it your own. So it's something that kind of exists in the marketplace. It's not a brand new invention. You might be tweaking it or making it better or redesigning it. So it's something that exists, but you're kind of slapping your label on it and selling it as your own. So that's the gist of it. Most of my products are sourced domestically. I'd say probably 85 to 90% are local, really? But I'm expanding to more overseas, mainly in China, to just have more products that I can resource. So yeah, I do a mixture of both, but I started in the United States for sure.
Okay. So that's very unique from what you're doing, Craig, from a lot of, and this is why I'm excited for this to talk to you today, because you're just a regular guy. You don't have a course. You've been building this business. You've quit your day job running this business, and you've kept things very simple. And I know one of the big fears people have, they see the time freedom that can come from a private label business. But the thought of like ordering something from China and waiting for 4 months for it to come on a boat just seems like daunting, number one. And number two, as Americans, I believe that we need to be investing in products made here to stimulate. That's just a personal thing. But so that's very unique of what you're doing, sourcing. And you said locally. So is that in Indianapolis, or where does your, I know we can't talk about your supplier, but is that like in the Midwest somewhere, or what do you mean local?
It just means the United States. So it's somewhere in America. It's not in Indianapolis, but there's a few places that manufacture my product, so I could source probably more locally, but I found a great manufacturer that I like to partner with.
Okay.
I'll say they're out east.
Okay. I'm just curious. So in the U.S. here. So, okay. Well, let's get back to your story. I just want to kind of lay the groundwork of, what your business is. You're sourcing stuff and you get it sent into Amazon and you're selling on Amazon. Are you selling on any other platforms, or are most of your sales coming from Amazon?
Vast majority are Amazon. I have a little bit. I've got Joe Lister to connect my products with eBay. And then I just opened up a Shopify store probably in the last, I'd say 2 months, but it's not fully optimized yet. So I'm trying to get more of my products off of Amazon and build a bigger base. But I would say 98%, 99% are still through Amazon.
Okay, cool. I just want to kind of understand how you sell stuff. So, okay, well, let's go back to your story, man. You started in Amazon because you wanted to. You got a couple of boys getting ready for college, and that's not cheap these days. And so you said, I need to make, and you had a good, healthy income. I know you had a nice, comfortable income that's been providing for your family. So you started on Amazon. You were doing the arbitrage thing. Where were you at that point? Were you like knocking it out of the park, or were you struggling, or what? How did you, how did you start?
Yeah, I basically shopped the clearance aisles. I didn't really know what I was doing. I mainly sourced at Dollar Tree, and I sourced at some balloon manufacturer online, and it was pretty bad because everything was super cheap because I didn't want to take the risk at the time, and I didn't really know what I was doing. So it just was not really a good fit for who I was, and I didn't have the time to make this scale, and my house kind of was my shipping location, and my wife was kind of like, I don't want to do this again where we have packages come into the door. And so we got a chance to sorry, my screen went different here for me. Can you still see my whole screen okay?
No, your video just stopped.
Can you see me okay now?
Yep.
Is it full screen?
Yeah, it's the same as it was before.
Okay, sorry about that. So for me, RA and OA was really challenging for me to pull off. And so I said, I got to do something different. And again, I had talked with Brandon Andrews just about private label. I found a competitor. I had never taken a course. And I said, this is an amazing product. It was doing very well. I knew how to search rank on Amazon. So my bestseller rank. And I just said, boy, if I can do a half or a third of the sales on this one product, I would be really, really happy. So I started to pursue that, and that was really cool. I'm glad I did, because that's the majority of what I sell today is along that same product line. But at the beginning, I really had no idea what I was doing, and I made a lot of hiccups and trips along the way, just trying to figure my way out. But going this alone was definitely a really hard challenge for me, for sure.
Okay. So you started in the RAOA, were struggling, weren't really doing too well, but you were learning the platform. You bought a course, you actually took action. So you're one of the 1% that actually does something with an info product. And then how many products did you start with? One product? Did you launch 5, or what was that first process like?
Yeah, I started with about, I think 7 products was my initial order. And it was probably more than I should have started with. Because it was just way out of control in terms of managing it and doing it well and creating listings that I had never done before. So I started, I knowing what I know today, I can start a lot faster, but back then it was complicated. It was messy. So yeah, I started with a few more than I should have, and I probably should have started a little bit slower in the beginning, and mainly just because I didn't know what I was doing.
Okay. So got a couple launched, and what was the results of some of those early products? I mean, were you starting to make some money, or what was happening then?
Yeah, I started selling pretty easily. Not that it was making anything six figures or anything, but one of my first products is still my best seller today, which is really cool. So I did pick a winner right off the bat. But in my first, I'd say 7 products, probably about 3 of them exist today. So 4 didn't. I sold out of them, so it wasn't like I took a loss for them, but you're going to have some winners, you're going to have some losers, and I think understanding that in private label, you're going to have some picks that are good and some are bad. It's just part of the reality. You're not going to hit
Right.
100% on all of these.
Right. Okay. So you got a handful launched, and then I went. I mean, your story. You went like your story is like exponential. Like you started having success, and now it seems like you work less than you were before, and your profits 10 times. Because this is just the early part. So let's fast forward a little bit. You joined the Platinum Mastermind group. Do you want to tell the story of where you're at when you joined Platinum? And I know you had a shift that happened at one of the retreats that we had. So what happened there?
Yep. So, Platinum Mastermind was huge for me because it just gave me probably the confidence and the understanding, the ability to ask great questions of people that had been there before me. That was significant for me as somebody who didn't know what they were doing and needed the help. I had coaches and mentors and a group of people that I could turn to that were willing to help me as well. So, one of the main things that was probably a big turning point for me was October 2016. We were in Chicago. Gary Ray was there. A few others were part of that meeting, and I was sharing about my business, and I wanted to scale, and I just didn't know what I was doing. And Gary did some of the math on what I was doing, and he said, "Boy, you got a $50,000 business at that time." He's like, "I'll write you a check today, and I'll buy your business." And I think that was the light bulb moment. Said, "Boy, I really have something." Up until then, I really didn't know that I had anything. I just had a hobby. So at that point, I took it pretty seriously and said, boy, I can scale this, I can grow this. But it took the kind of wisdom and insight of somebody looking in from the outside to say, hey, you know what? You should stick with this, and you got something valuable.
Mm-hmm.
And that was probably the biggest turning point for me. That $50,000 business turned into my first year. I think I did about $120,000 in profit last year. Again, working full time, not fully knowing what I'm doing. But it turned the light bulb on me and just said, hey, I gotta take this seriously. And this is something that really can grow and expand. And so, again, I take my summers off. Even the following summer, this past year, I took my summer off. So I kind of come in and out of this. But it's continued to grow and expand, and the pace has gotten a lot better and faster now that I know what I'm doing.
Okay. So there's some key points in what you just said. For one of those, your first turning point was you invested in yourself and joined a high-level mastermind. And I don't know, had you ever been a part of a mastermind group like that before? Okay, so I was just curious. So you, in the meeting that you were talking about, Craig's talking about, is a meeting we had in Chicago. It's a 2-day meeting where we come together, and that's the beauty of a mastermind is you don't have to. You can be in business for yourself, but not alone. And you get in a room full of people that are smarter than you and wiser than you, and you can bring your challenges and opportunities. And Craig got some feedback that day. I don't think you really knew what you were sitting on. So how many products did you have in Chicago, and then how many products did you have online by that Christmas that year?
I think I had about 20 to 25. So my products had added. Again, I started right before summer. I took my summer off. I added a few more after summer. I really didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was looking for, but had still sold well, even though I didn't really quite know what I was looking for that year. So
okay. So 25 at the meeting, and then what happened that first Christmas? This was your first real big Christmas. You said you finished the year at about 120 in net profit. So what were your sales? How many products did you have? Like, I'm just kind of curious what that, what 120,000 in revenue looks like.
I had, again, I probably had that same number as 25 products, and I did about $375,000 in revenue, total revenue.
Okay.
Yeah. Which blew me away. I mean, honestly, it was like one of those things where I was having okay months, but it just took off, and I tend to add products after summer, and I have no idea how they're going to do. And so I introduce them in September, October, November, and then they take off or they don't take off. But I was very pleased with that first Christmas season. of having private labels. It blew my expectations away. In fact, when I got to this was the turning point from RA, OA, and private label was in December, 90% of my sales came from private label and 10% of my total revenue came from RA and OA. And I said, RA and OA take way more time. Private label was a whole lot easier. So I at that point, January 1st, I went cold turkey. I didn't do any private label or RA, OA. I sold out of my inventory and just exclusively focused on private label, which has been a great decision as well.
Okay. That's my reminder to keep us on track here. So very quickly then, that was Christmas last year, and then Christmas this year. Where did you guys end up this year then?
So I ended up just under 600,000, 591,000, I think was my revenue. Profit, still working on the expense of getting some of my year-end expenses put in, but would be about $200,000 in net profit at the end of the day.
Okay.
I have a pretty hefty tax bill that I have to pay. And probably there's a couple of big takeaways that I had from this Christmas. One was have enough inventory in stock. I sold out of a lot of products that I raised the price, and they still sold out. So keeping an inventory was huge. And then one of the other things was just have more products available. I launched quite a bit of products right before the Christmas season. They did extremely well. They sold out super quickly. And so I was like, if I can do these with 60 products in December, how do I get to 100 products next December or 120 products? So I'm kind of feverishly thinking and looking and adding more and more products to my product line because I know it can scale if I just have more available. One of the other things too, Gabe, I found a product in I think about middle of November that I just started selling the last week of December. So after the Christmas rush. And it has turned in my best seller, this new product that I have. So almost half of my sales now are coming from this new product that I just launched without any giveaways, just turned on PPC and posted this product. So I did yesterday, I did about $2,700 in sales, and almost half of them are from this new product. So launching products, it's not too late for people to jump in. There's still products to be found. There's still opportunity. So my best seller just launched at the beginning of this year.
Okay.
It's killing it for me. So there are lots more out there just like that. And that's what I'm excited about most for this group that's upcoming.
Let me take a TV timeout here. I got some really good questions for you. So if you're watching this, hang tight, 'cause I got some good questions for Craig. I want to talk about the opportunity, Craig. What you've done is awesome. Congratulations. Like, we're all happy for you. And I can promise you that whoever's watching this, wherever they are in the world, wants to know, okay, but what about me? Like, how can I do this? I want to quit my job. And maybe you don't have $120,000 a year salary you got to replace, or maybe you do. And we've got members of our group who have spouses that work in really high income type professions that have replaced that income. But I got to talk. My first question, Craig, and you kind of mentioned this, is it too late? Am I too late to do private label? Are there still opportunities today? You mentioned an example today. Is that like a fluke, or was this a business we needed to get into 5 years ago?
No, there's plenty of opportunity, and there's better tools that are out today to help you find and guide you through some of those opportunities. And we talked about that last summer with Grant, with Viral Launch and the product discovery tool. So there's way more, there's probably way better resources that are available for new people to find product that's out there. And again, I searched last night, and I probably pinned about 20 ideas that I found on Viral Launch, not related to my category at all. So I have way more product opportunities than I have time or money. But there is a learning curve involved. So that's the thing is I encourage people to get started sooner, because that learning curve and getting going and sourcing it does take a little while. Okay. So there's plenty of opportunity. Do you have to be like a really creative person? I know one of the things that we're going to do, and we've talked about this new group, is sharing product leads with people. But do you have to be a creative person to create your own products and make stuff? No, I think, there's a level of creativity in the fact that thinking through how to make this different or better, but it can be as simple as just making a 2-pack out of something, or changing a color of something, or making a listing better. So the creativity is thinking just how do I make this better or different than what's already on the marketplace. So
okay.
You have to be radically creative to think of new products. It doesn't hurt to be creative because it probably opens up more doors, but at the same time, there's plenty of opportunity uh, that you don't have to be super creative to design or create.
Okay. Well, that answers that. I know, and also we'll talk about this new group that we've opened up. We'll talk about the power of being a part of a group and how that helps, even if you don't feel like a creative person or whatever. What about I got some big ones for you, Craig. What about time?
Yep.
I'm too busy. I got a day job I go to. We got 3 kids at home. I'm coaching stuff, and I'm just thinking out loud of what the average American. I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off. How much time did you really put in the startup phase, and then how much are you working now that are kind of through that?
Yep, that's a great question. I really, before leaving my existing job, I probably put in, depending on the time of the year, 10 to 20 hours a week. So that was kind of my capacity that I had. In the summer, I put in probably 4 or 5 just to make sure that I was responding to any feedback or messages or checking sales, but I really didn't have any time to invest in looking for new products. I'd say right now I'm trying to scale up to being in the 30 to 40 hours a week. I've complemented myself with VAs. So I have one full-time VA that's been with me for about 3 months now. And then I just hired my second one who starts today. So that's another way to do this, is a lot of these steps in the process can be outsourced. And so surrounding yourself with good people also frees you up. I'm trying to focus on what are the things that I do best.
Yeah.
It's finding product and researching product. And so kind of creating the listings and all that. I can outsource those steps to somebody else so that I can scale faster.
Okay. So time-wise, I mean, you've did it with a full-time job, coaching sports with the kids, 10 to 20 hours a week through the startup, which is completely reasonable for any business. I mean, I've found you really get out of a business what you put in, and sometimes businesses are like newborns, and you got to feed them and give them attention and, a lot of attention in the beginning. But once the momentum's going, how much are you working now? You said like 4 to 5 hours a week in the summertime when you were kind of in your off season. And now you're in the season where you're kind of ramping back up, you're leaving your job this month, so you've got the time to put in and really scale it. So another big one, Craig, besides the time, because I believe we can all create time. If you want freedom bad enough, you create the time. That's the reality of it. There's no like magic bullet that any of us can just create more time. But Elon Musk is sending rocket ships into outer space with the same 24 hours that you have at your day job. So, we really have no excuse. What about money? Let's talk about the other big one. Did you have like a huge bankroll when you started this thing, or how much capital did you start with to launch the business?
I probably started with an initial investment of about $2,000 was probably my first purchase. I've placed much larger orders now, but I would say for most people that you want to have anywhere between $5,000 and $20,000 would be a great way to start. Again, you can spend less than that. My concern is that you don't want to spend all your money on product and then have no money for PPC or buying more inventory if it goes really well. So you want to give yourself a little bit of a cushion. And so that's why I'm saying $5,000 is probably a good starting place to buy a product, have enough to market it well. And then if you need to buy more inventory, you have that cash available to you. Obviously, the bigger the amount of capital that you have to invest, the higher in terms of the product value or the product cost that you can go after. So, if I'm buying a product that costs me $50 and I need to buy 100 units, that's just going to take a lot more of my capital and marketing dollars. So if I only have 5,000 or 3,000, I'm going to be looking for products that are in the $5 or less range.
Okay, so this is it's a real business. You're not buying a Quiznos franchise, so it's not 300 grand or spending, I think you got to have like $1 million to invest in McDonald's or one of those things, but 5 to 20 grand you think is a reasonable startup capital for someone to give themselves the capital. And then time wise, what's the timeline look like? I know what you're doing with sourcing products is very unique, especially because you're doing stuff domestically. And I know friends that source in China, and they spend, I know some friends that have spent upwards of $30,000, $40,000 for an initial order, and the lead time's like 4 months long, which seems like forever in entrepreneur world. So how much timeline do you think somebody should realistically expect to get the business going?
that's good. I would say depending on your product. So if it's a smaller, lightweight product that you can airship, so you're talking typically less than a pound and doesn't take up that much space. You can get it going a little bit faster. You don't have to wait for the shipping. So I'd say if it's going to be something lightweight and not very big, you probably can get it going from the date that you place the order within about a month. So
Okay.
finding a product might take a little bit longer depending on what that looks like. It varies for every individual. But if you're having them do significant design changes and then you're shipping it by boat, that's probably going to take usually 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
And so it's a great thing that you can do private label while you're doing OA or an RA. So that doesn't stop you.
Mm-hmm.
There's a time investment to find your product, source your product, order your product. And then if it doesn't come by air, if it comes by boat, you typically will have almost a month to 2 months to create a launch plan and a listing plan. So it just goes in steps. It doesn't happen quickly for most people. It takes usually, the quickest I've seen is typically a month. And then for some people, it can take, 2, 3, 4 months to get their product going, depending on how many changes and making a decision on your packaging, all that kind of fun stuff.
Okay. Okay, so that's really unique what you're doing, and getting products to market quickly. I know is important, quickly and effectively, and on a low budget, so that you don't have a lot of capital outlay in the beginning. So, last big objection that I can think of is if someone's watching this video, they're thinking, well, what kind of team do you have? Like, do you have like, who's working with you? Do you have like a fancy office? Are you running this from your kitchen room? Your dining room table in the beginning? What's your team look like?
Yep. My team, for the most part, up until about 3 months ago, was me. And my kids would help me if I needed any help with any like packaging. But it was primarily just me. So I hired a first VA about 3 months ago, hiring my second one today. So that's it. And yeah, I run a 6-figure business that I'm hoping to scale to $1.5 million in sales and hopefully about $500,000 in net profit next year with a team of 3 or 4 people. I do outsource my manufacturing. I outsource my packaging. So I don't touch my product anymore at all, which is great. So I really spend most of my time just looking for new products and then also optimizing my listings and then hiring VAs to help me so that I do less of that and just spend my time finding new products.
Okay, very cool. So not a huge team. You started with yourself, solo entrepreneur, chief dishwasher, chief product sourcer, chief everything, and you learned the process, and then now you've got a small team you're starting to duplicate and scale, and a year from now, you guys are going to be in a totally different place, and 5 years from now, you're probably not going to be able to look back and recognize what's happened. So well, let's turn the corner, man. Your story is super inspiring, Craig. I get inspired by entrepreneurs like you because you're just a regular guy from Indianapolis. You had sold some stuff on eBay, but you just went through the process and you gave yourself enough time to fail and make mistakes. I know you've made a lot of mistakes along the way. We could probably do a whole interview on what not to do. But we've been inspired to connect and form a new mastermind group. And we talked about this briefly. We're calling it the Alpha Project. Or the Alpha Mastermind Group. And the reason for that is we said, what would it look like if we got all the sharpest, best sellers that we know into a mastermind group together so that we can all learn from each other. And, the Bible talks about as iron sharpens iron, man sharpens man. And we know as entrepreneurs, a lot of times it can feel lonely. You feel like a lone wolf kind of out there in the desert trying to like figure things out. And so we've considered this the fast pass. And Craig, you shared the story of what happened with your business from being a part of this mastermind system. And now, you connected and said, hey, I want to give back and help some other people. So you and I took a look at the space and there's a lot of great private label resources on the internet. But I just want to ask you, first off, what is the Alpha Mastermind Group? Then we'll talk about very quickly what it is, what it'll do for people, and what it looks like to enroll. But what is Alpha?
Yeah, Alpha is this amazing group of people that we're trying to get together that will have the common idea of helping each other launch private label products and go through every step of the way. And so it's going to be a completely transparent community where you'll get to see my products which most groups never do. It's a pretty secret society, so we're having everybody sign a non-disclosure so that we can be open and honest. And that was probably one of the biggest things that I missed when I started. Is this is a very much do-it-alone business. You can ask questions online, but there's not someone to really say, "Hey, you got a great idea," or "Let me look at your listing, let me look at your packaging." And really, that's what this group is going to do. We're trying to limit to 10 people or less. And we're going to be open and honest and transparent and really help each other launch. We might have some partnerships that come out of it of I have a product idea, but I may not have money or as much money to invest. And somebody might say, hey, I have more money than time. And also getting just feedback on, hey, is this the right product? Does this look good? What do you guys think? And hopefully sharing new tips and trends that we're hearing in the marketplace so that we're kind of more cutting edge as we hear what's coming out from Amazon or other things that other sellers are doing in the marketplace. So I think it can be a huge, powerful community. It's one of the things that it would have scaled my business way, way faster by having a group of people that are looking over my shoulder and really helping me guide my product decisions, guide my pace of saying, boy, if you just invest a little bit more time or you outsource this to somebody else, you're going to grow way faster. There's no price that I would pay, I guess, if I had this group probably a year ago, because it would have really just launched my business a lot sooner. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited about who's in it right now. Some really key, powerful, awesome people that I love and trust. Yep. And so if you want to be a part of that community, that's what we're looking for, is people that are going to be engaged and are willing to help others succeed, but we're also going to benefit greatly by being a part of this group personally as well.
Yeah, the bigger, we'll talk on a second, the bigger picture of what we're creating here, because I really see this being a ripple effect of being able to, and I saw this analogy, heard this from a mentor one time, that you always want to have one hand reaching up to a mentor and one hand reaching down, helping somebody else on the path. And so that's what our intention is to create with this group. And I think one thing that makes Alpha really unique, Craig, there's a lot of training out there. There's a lot of masterminds out there, but we've put together as a system that works, and we've created this hybrid model where it's part mastermind group. And for those of you that haven't been a part of a mastermind before, we'll meet online on meetings like this, video calls like this. That way, wherever you are in the world, we can connect and help each other. We'll have topical-based masterminds on different topics. So how to find products, for example, how to source products, different things like that. And then it's also going to be part mentoring. And we've found that when you're starting anything new and you're walking to climb the mountain, you're going to hit roadblocks and obstacles. And that's the value of having a good mentor in your corner who's been there, done that, done what you've done, and can give you the wisdom and the confidence to achieve what you want to achieve. So Craig has agreed to be the initial Sherpa or mentor, if you will, of this group. So you'll have a monthly call with Craig to talk about your business and what you're doing to get direct coaching from an entrepreneur who has built what you want to build. Craig, at the time that we're doing this recording, how many products do you guys have live?
We have about 60, and then I just ordered probably another 15 that are coming in here in the next month and a half. So I'm trying to scale this very quickly, and I'm excited about that, but I also want to get feedback from the group. So I know that I can learn a whole lot from others. And I like the Sherpa terminology that you just used, because you can go up Everest potentially without a Sherpa by doing research and homework and getting in shape. But that Sherpa really has been there before. They know the weather conditions. They've seen it before. And that's a huge value add. And so, I hope that I'm a Sherpa and other people in the group can really help you get up the mountain, get to where you want to go. But they just have local knowledge. They have expertise that you just, because you've never been there, you don't always know what to look for. And so I love that terminology, because they're going to save you on a lot of mistakes, and they're going to guide you in ways that you hadn't thought of before.
Yeah, it's invaluable to have that person to walk with you on the journey, and that's the missing link, I think, for so many entrepreneurs. To see, you might have the talent, the time, the capital, but without that confidence and the wisdom from someone who's been there, sometimes you feel like you're just spinning your wheels. And so if you've ever felt like that, like you're working really hard but not getting stuff done, the best thing you can do, and it's the best advice I can give you, if you want to get better results in life, surround yourself with people playing the game of life at a higher level, and you will automatically gravitate to another level. And it starts with your thinking. I have found this, that all of success starts with your thinking. And if you haven't ever earned $10,000 or $20,000 a month in profit before, get around some people who have, and that becomes contagious. And I can't explain it. There's some kind of spiritual thing that happens when you just get around like-minded people. May have to do with the way that Jesus had the disciples meeting together in the early church. That was I kind of look at that as like the first mastermind. It's just believers coming together, breaking bread, just being together. So Craig, this is the group. I want to talk quickly the value of Alpha. We could sit here and talk all day. I've been interviewing and talking to some of the early founding members that have come in this group, this initial group of 10. And we'll say this, if you're watching the recording, this initial group of 10 may very well be full by the time you apply for the program. And I will put links below this video on how to apply. And we'll talk very briefly how to do that. And then we'll wrap up this interview. But our intention, our big picture vision is that by Craig and this initial 10 working together, that we will be able to produce new coaches and new leaders that will be able to open new groups. So even if you don't get into this initial group to Alpha 1, there may still be opportunity to connect with this system that we're building and be a part of the greater vision of what we're creating, which is setting people free. And I want to share why we launched this program very quickly, Craig, because we could tell you all the features and the benefits, and I'll tell you a couple of the bonuses in just a second, some perks that come with being a part of the mastermind. But why we created this was to help set people free. And Craig, you've been able to free yourself from your day job. We've got a lot of members in our group who have great professions, great careers, but they have found that there's a glass ceiling on the income that they can earn in those careers. And people have kids growing up in college education they want to pay for, and different reasons why they're a part of Alpha. And we believe this is the best business, the best vehicle, and the right people to be a part of at the right time, which is today, to create lasting freedom. And so the end game for this group and for all of us is to build your business and package it in a way where you would have the opportunity and possibility of selling your business someday, if that's what you chose. We have a lot of members that we believe will be a part of this group that will build multiple 6-7 figure businesses and cash flows that will change their families' lives. And some people are going to say, hey, I want to build a business, sell it, and do something else. And so we want to help you build an asset, a true asset that can provide financial security and freedom for your family. So that's why we're doing this, for faith, for family, for fun. We have a lot of members of the group that just want to be able to travel and do fun things. So Craig, in the sake of time, let's keep things very simple. The value of the group, personally, I would pay $20,000-$25,000 easily for a mastermind group that could help me create an extra 6 figures in revenue. Personally, the last mastermind group I joined was $10,000 to get in and $700 a month to be a part of it. But we wanted to make this group simple and affordable. So what is the price to join Alpha?
Sure. It's $5,000 to join, and then it's going to be $500 per month to be a part of this group ongoing. And so I think from the value perspective, there are so many products that you can launch and within a year pay back your money 10 times. And then 2 to 3 years from now, that money will be exponential. So I know it is a big investment up front for some people. $5,000 seems like a lot. Where I am today and where I'm going to be in 2018 with potentially closing in on $500,000 in sales in about less than 3 years, 5,000 seems like nothing. So I would encourage you that if money is an issue, obviously you want to have enough to invest, but there's huge value, there's huge upside. Again, you talked about a Quiznos or a Subway. You're talking about $100,000 investment to get a building started. And then you're still not necessarily always making a 6-figure income and you're working crazy hours. This business is quite different than that, and you can scale it very, very quickly. So it's a great business model. I love it. I would love to have all my kids grow up and start their own private label businesses as well. Just because I think it's a great value. It's a great opportunity, and it's a rare opportunity that we're living in a time where Amazon has given us this huge leverage to people, and we just need to bring products to market that will sell. And so I'm excited about it. I don't know if I exude that all the time, but it's just a huge, incredible business opportunity, and I feel like the time is right for so many people. And again, I find more products than I have time or money. And so if you have time and money and you have that capital available, I highly suggest joining this group.
Yeah, man, I'm excited too. And I know you don't, you're a pretty calm guy, so we kind of joke about that. And I know you've got a call coming up, so we're going to have to wrap this up. So I just want to share very briefly how to apply for Alpha. This is an invitation, application only type of program. We want to work with high level sellers, so there is some criteria that you must qualify for to be invited to Alpha, and we'll link that criteria below this page. You must have some experience selling on Amazon. You must have some startup capital. You must be an action taker. You must be committed. And we're looking for people that are generous, that are naturally giving people. You'll get out of this group what you give. So we're looking for people that will contribute to the group and not just people who are saying, hey, what can I receive or take? So all those things is listed below. How you apply, there's a link below this video. There's 3 things you need to do to apply. One is fill out the application. It's a short, about 12 question application to give us an idea of where you're at in your walk on Amazon. Second thing you got to do is sign or agree to our digital NDA. This is a privacy agreement that will protect your intellectual property being the group, Craig's intellectual property being the group, my intellectual property, and that will allow us to talk openly in the mastermind. And as Craig said, that's one of the most unique things about what we're doing is creating an intimate environment with top high-level sellers and entrepreneurs where we can all share and people have integrity. So you can share your ideas knowing that they're your ideas and protected. Once you do that, you'll be sent to the checkout page where you can complete the deposit and enrollment into the program. You can pay the entry fee to get in the group. And once you do that, you'll be redirected to a thank you page, which has your first mentoring lesson. And it's a very short, probably a 3 to 5 minute video lesson. And I share some resources in that, some high level strategic resources to get you started on the right foot. And then you will be sent a link to schedule your first call with your mentor. So if you're watching this and you're a part of the first 10, you'll be able to connect with Craig directly. If other groups are opening up, you'll connect with the mentor who will get you plugged in to the right group. So Craig, that is the application. We want to formally invite you to be a part of this. If you're an awesome person, we're looking for cool people. A lot of the people that we join these groups become very dear friends of ours. We'll mostly meet online, although there probably will be some in-person shenanigans of some sort that will develop, I can imagine, with this group. But Craig, in the sake of time, I know we talked about some of the bonuses. There's a couple perks to being a part of the group, and I know you've got to run for a call. Do you mind very quickly talking about the bonuses? I know the first one we talked about was creating leads for people. So what is this?
So I will go through Viral Launch and find leads for our group members. Again, I want to teach you on how to find your own. So hopefully you're not relying on me for all the product leads. But if you're stuck, I'm going to send you some leads that I think are good. They need to be vetted further. So I don't want to say like they're going to all be winners because sourcing them might be a challenge or the prices may not work from a margin standpoint. But I'm planning to do that as we start out so that people know kind of some great product ideas that they can pursue just to get their juices flowing, and potentially if they want to take advantage of it, they can. The other thing that I was going to share with this group is also standard operating procedures. So as you look to hire a VA, kind of what can you outsource? What can you give away? What can get off of your plate that you may not be good at? I wish I had that a lot sooner, just kind of the standards and systems that can make this business run smoother so that you're not stuck in the day-to-day on things that other people can manage on your behalf. And outsourcing to a VA, I wish I had done it sooner. They bring a lot of value. There's a lot of them that already have Amazon experience, and a lot of them are charging $2 to $3 an hour with lots of Amazon experience helping other private label sellers before. So having that instruction manual on how to do the tasks is huge as well. So that's 2 of the bonuses we're going to include.
Awesome. You just skimmed over that. There's so much value packed into what you just said. So I want to clarify, and then we'll wrap up, and you guys can click the link below to apply. One is product leads. So if you're saying I don't feel like I'm a creative person, I have time, I have capital, but I don't even know where to start. Craig's going to literally spoon feed you some product opportunities that he has vetted. And from knowing Craig and working with Craig for a couple of years, this is one of your superpowers, Craig. You're extremely talented and gifted in identifying profitable products. And I mean, these are base hit products, stuff you can make $1,000 to $3,000 a month from. And you just shared one of them with me before this call that I won't share publicly. We'll save that for members of Alpha. So you're going to get product leads from being a part of the group. You're also going to get a ton of ideas and feedback on the ideas that you already have. You can bring those to the group. And the second thing that you just said very quickly, Craig, those leads in and of themselves, I mean, that can easily be worth $50,000 to $100,000 in extra real revenue for people just from a couple of these products. So the second thing, though, is your standard operating procedures. And you've had a VA go through and systematize everything you guys do in your business. So if you are watching this and you have a full-time job or another business, hiring the right virtual assistants is paramount to you having the freedom that you're looking for. And so rather than saying, how do I do this from scratch, you'll literally be able to use the cheat sheets that Craig has created, his own SOPs, and just turn those over to your VA and say, do this test exercise, and here's the process that we're working off of. And that is the ticket to freedom. So those SOPs, Craig, are easily worth $5,000 if it can help somebody systematize and scale the business. And we just like to under promise and over deliver with groups like this, because our goal is always to add 10 times the value what we ask you to invest into yourself. And I believe we're going to have the next generation of sellers do what you've done, Craig, in shorter amounts of time. So far you've got the record 19 months, and then we'll see how many of Alpha members can crack that record. That'll be the ongoing challenge. So, hey, since you got to run, man, I'll let everybody just click the link below to apply. Is there any last words you'd like to say about Alpha or, private label? I'll give you the last word here.
I think you summed it up well. Excited to work with a great group of people. So if you feel like this is who you are and where you want to go, I strongly suggest applying, and look forward to connecting with us here real shortly.
Awesome, man. Well, Craig, thank you so much for your time. I know you're busy. This is your last month in the day job, so congratulations on your exit. Congratulations on the success that you've had, and thank you for being willing to share and give back and help other people. I think that's a testament. A lot of entrepreneurs keep their secrets real close to their heart, and you're such a generous person. You want to share and see your friends succeed as well. So it's a privilege to know you, man. Have an awesome day, Craig. And if you're watching this video, guys, go ahead and apply below to the group. Even if you don't get in, go ahead and apply, and it'll help you set your intentions for the group, and then you'll connect with one of our coaches, and we'll get you rocking. So thanks for watching. Have an awesome day. We'll see you soon, Craig.
Bye.